My name is Raimundo Alves. I am a freight train engineer. And what I'm about to tell you happened in 1989 during a night stop on the Carajás Railway. That night, in the middle of the dense jungle, something came out of the culvert, stood upright, and tried to enter the cabin while I was still inside. I don't have much schooling. I don't know how to speak fancy words. I only know how to talk the way I learned from my father and mother back in the countryside. Slow words, awkward words, but always the truth. I joined the railway life early, pulling heavy cargo through Carajás line. That stretch of iron and jungle became my home. There were nights I didn't even remember my own face. I only remember the train's headlight cutting through the darkness and the hot wind coming through the window. A train engineer learns to be alone, to trust the machine more than people. No luxury, no small talk, just work, dust, smoke, and God watching over us. I've seen many things out there, things most people wouldn't believe even if I put them right in front of their eyes. But what I saw in 1989 was different. That was the first time I felt the jungle looking back at me. The Carajás Railway cuts through dense forests, swamps, deep ravines, and mountains. Anyone who runs that line at night knows there's no silence like it. It's a silence that presses against your chest. At dawn, all you hear is the engine's roar, the rails snapping under weight, the machine complaining about the load. And even then, sometimes you swear you hear footsteps in the brush, branches snapping, something pacing the train. We always told ourselves it was just wildlife, jaguars, deer, things we were used to. But in 1989, there were nights when the jungle went quiet in a different way. Too quiet, as if something was waiting. That night, the train didn't warn me of anything. My body did. My chest tightened, my arms broke out in goosebumps, and I felt something waiting for me out there in the dark. The signal closed right in the middle of nowhere. That alone wasn't strange. But closing right there in that forgotten stretch, it made my stomach turn. I stopped the train, let the weight settle, and opened the window to breathe. Hot, heavy air came in, the smell of wet jungle. And that's when the world went quiet. Behind the train, I noticed a concrete culvert, one of those tunnels under the tracks for water drainage. I'd passed hundreds of them before, never gave them a second thought. But that one was different. Too dark, too still, too deep. It looked like the open mouth of something that should not exist. I can't explain it, but it felt alive, breathing slowly, waiting for me to look. And I looked. That was my first mistake. The silence grew heavy. So heavy it felt like someone had covered my ears with their hands. There were no insects, no frogs, no wind. It was as if the jungle itself had fled. My body felt cold on the inside. I knew I wasn't alone in that cabin. Something was coming. Then I heard it. A low, dragging sound coming from inside the culvert. A deep, heavy breathing. Not the breathing of any animal I knew. Too strong. Too deep. It sounded like it came from a chest far too large to belong to any normal creature. Then something moved. Slowly, a shadow pushed forward. And I saw it. A hand. Not a paw. Not a hoof. A hand. Large. Thick. With long, twisted fingers. The claws scraped against the concrete, making a dry, sharp sound that ran straight up my spine. An arm followed. Too long. Hair covered. Wrong. Then the shoulder. The chest. Each breath lifted its rib cage in a way that was almost human and yet not. When the head appeared, my body locked. A wolf's head, but distorted. Eyes that didn't shine like an animal's. They were deep, dark, thinking eyes. Eyes that understood. The creature pulled itself completely out of the culvert. And then it stood up, not like an animal, like a man. Taller than any man I had ever seen. And in that moment, I knew that wasn't an animal. That was something old, something people whisper about. It took 2 steps forward. Each step made the gravel shift. Not the weight of a jaguar, not the weight of a man, the weight of something that pressed the earth down when it moved. It tilted its head, listening, and I swear it was listening to my heart. It placed a hand on the ladder. The sound of claws scraping metal stole the air from my lungs. It climbed slowly, carefully, like it knew I couldn't go anywhere, like it was enjoying the wait. Its snout appeared at the window. Hot breath fogged the glass. The smell was unbearable. Wet earth, rot, old meat. It pressed its teeth against the glass. The cabin shook. That's when I remembered the horn. I slammed my hand down on it. The sound exploded through the cabin. The creature recoiled. It roared in pain. I pressed the horn again, and again. The roar turned into a pained howl. It lost balance, fell from the ladder, and fled back into the culvert. Before disappearing, it looked back at me, not with fear, with a promise. I didn't escape because it was afraid of me. I escaped because the sound hurt it. And as I drove through the night, one truth stayed with me. If it weren't for that horn, I wouldn't be alive. And I know, deep down, that thing is still out there, waiting.